Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You who are listening to this video today, this message did not come to you by chance. If your heart has been drawn here, it is because Allah wants you to hear this. He never took His eyes off you. Even in silence, even in losses, even in absences and pains. He watched you, He raised you up, you have been tested, you have been stripped, you have walked in darkness while others were in the light. You have endured loss, disappointment, abandonment. And through it all, you have not given up your faith. Perhaps you have cried alone. Perhaps you have doubted in your heart, but never dared to say it out loud. But Allah knows. And today, He wants to remind you of something extraordinary. Your patience has never been in vain. What you have lost, Allah will multiply it. Not just give it back to you, not just compensate. No. He decreed a double reward, a greatness you can't even imagine, an elevation that will silence those who have brought you down, a turnaround so glorious it will shake the limits of your imagination. Listen carefully to these words, because they are not meant for everyone. They are reserved for those who were elected in secret. To those whose hearts remained fixed on Allah while everything around them was crumbling. To those who, despite poverty, loneliness or illness, said, Hasbiya Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for me. He is the best guardian. And you, yes you who listen to these words, you are one of them. The world may have forgotten you. Your efforts may have gone unrecognized. Your sacrifice may have gone unnoticed. But you must know one thing. Allah's gaze has never left you. And when Allah sees a faithful soul, a soul that perseveres, He decrees a reward that no one can stop. You think you've been left out, but in reality, you were set apart, preserved for a greater thing. Far from certain roads, for Allah was preparing for you one named after you. You were not rejected. You were reserved. So stay with me in this video. Each word is a drop of light coming down from the sky to your heart. Every verse, every reminder, every breath of this message is proof that you have never been alone. Allah saw, Allah decreed, and now He acts. Not in hustle and bustle, but in divine precision. What you hear next will change your perspective. For if you knew what Allah has prepared for you, you would rise up today with a firm heart, a peaceful smile, and a burning faith. It is time for you to understand. The time of restitution is near. You know, there are times in life when everything falls apart. When you lose something you can't even name. Bonds are broken. Dreams die silently. Efforts that bear no fruit, pain that no one sees. And in the darkness, you may have wondered, does Allah see what I am experiencing? Does He hear my heart? And the answer is yes. 1,000 times yes. And Allah is as sufficient as a witness. An-Nisa 79. This verse is not mere consolation. It is a heavenly declaration. It means that even if no one has understood you, even if no one has thanked you, even if no one has defended you, Allah has seen everything. He saw the nights you went to bed with a heavy heart. He saw the prayers you offered with tears. He saw the difficult choices you made to remain in His obedience, even when it cost you dearly. None of this has been forgotten. Nothing has been wasted. For Allah is the one who records everything with justice. And when He records, it is to reward, not with mere equivalence, but with wisdom that surpasses this world. For what you have lost in this world was a seed buried in the dark earth of trial. And this seed, Allah watered it in secret, far from prying eyes. And soon, it will bloom under a light that nothing can stop. Maybe you've been abandoned. Maybe your honesty cost you an opportunity. Maybe your loyalty isolated you. And maybe you've even thought, what's the point of continuing if evil seems to triumph? But here is the truth you need to hear. Your loss was not a punishment. It was a purification. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, was preparing you for something purer. He was removing what was toxic, what would have slowed you down, what would have led you astray. And yes, it hurts, because humans become attached. But Allah, He detached what is no longer part of your destiny. And He does it out of love for you, not out of cruelty. And if you look closely, every loss you've experienced has brought you a little closer to Him. Each fracture forced you to put your forehead on the ground. Every time you closed the door, you felt like saying, Ya Rabbi, guide me. And this is precisely where the transformation begins. Remember this saying of the Prophet Ain: whoever gives up something for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace it with something better. Ahmad, what you have lost, Allah has seen it. And what He has prepared for you in return, no one can stop it. So today, instead of looking at what you no longer have, look up to the sky and say, Oh Allah, I have lost nothing if I have you. Because he who possesses Allah possesses everything. And now a question arises. What if your grief was actually a date with a reward you never dared to hope for? What if what you were crying over today would become, by His permission, the source of your fulfillment tomorrow? What you lost may have been visible, but what Allah is preparing is invisible, for now. But it will not remain so, for whatever you sow in tears, you will reap in light. And Allah does not forget any effort, any pain, any prayer. Keep listening, the rest will reveal why. Divine multiplication is more than a hope, it is a promise. There is a heavenly law that many are unaware of. A divine rule that operates in the invisible and changes the destiny of those who persevere in faith. This rule is the one that the Most High Himself laid down in His book. Whoever loses something for the sake of Allah sees his loss transformed into a reward multiplied. Allah never returns what you lose in the same way. He makes it bigger, purer, more useful for your path towards Him. And sometimes, He doesn't give it back to you here below, but He places it in eternity, where everything you have sacrificed will return to you as an ocean of mercy. Listen to this moving verse. Those who migrate for the sake of Allah, after being oppressed, we will establish for them a goodly home in this world. And the reward of the hereafter is even greater. Surah An-Nahl 41. You see, those who left everything behind, their homes, their possessions, their comfort, sometimes even their families, received a double reward. A compensation here below, enough to relieve their hearts. And a reward in the afterlife, immense, eternal. This is the justice of Allah. This is the heavenly law. And this principle doesn't just apply to those who emigrated. It applies to you today. To every time you held back your anger for the sake of Allah. To every opportunity for sin you refused, even though it was easy. To every penny you gave discreetly to please your Lord. To every prayer you offered in silence, out of sight. None of this is lost. Everything is multiplied. There is an even stronger verse which overturns the hearts of those who understand. Those who spend their wealth in the cause of Allah are like a grain that yields 7 ears, and an ear of grain yields 100. And Allah multiplies the reward to whom He wills. Surah Al-Baqarah 261. Imagine a single act, a single sincere intention, and Allah makes it 700 and more. This is the law of divine multiplication. You see, when you lose something in the way of Allah, do not mourn it for too long. Do not think it is an injustice. It is an investment. Your Lord made you give up something to give you 100 times more. He made you pass through drought to introduce you to an abundance that you would never have recognized without this crossing. You were emptied to be filled again. You were broken to be rebuilt higher. You were extinguished to shine brighter later under His light. And if you only knew, every time you choose Allah over the world, a decree is engraved in the invisible. And in this decree it is written, "To my servant I promise a double portion. I am the best of rewarders." The Prophet said, "The believer is not touched by fatigue, illness, sadness, grief, pain, or even by a thorn, except that Allah will erase his sins thereby." Bukhari and Muslim. But what many people don't know is that not only does Allah erase, but He increases. You lose something in difficulty, and He gives you twice as much in peace. You suffer injustice, and He writes it down for you, a double rank in the afterlife. So listen carefully to this truth. If you have suffered while remaining faithful to Allah, know that you have entered into a law of favor, a law that sets you apart, a law that will surprise you, for Allah does not forget. And when He rewards, it is beyond imagination. But now a question arises. How do you know you're about to experience this divine reward? What are the signs? Because yes, Allah always sends signs before the explosion of His blessing. Stay with me. What follows will open your eyes to the invisible signs of this approaching glory. There are signs, discreet but powerful, that always precede the outpouring of God's mercy. Clues that your heart can sense, even if your eyes cannot yet see them. When Allah's double reward approaches, the outside world seems to darken, but your soul begins to shine differently. This contrast is no accident. It's a sign that something huge is being decreed for you. The first sign is the intensification of the ordeal just before the relief. When Allah is about to unleash His blessing, He first tightens the noose. Why? Because He wants to exhaust the rest of what still connected you to anything other than Him. He wants to make you a chosen one, capable of bearing greatness without losing yourself in pride. It is like a storm just before dawn. And many give up at that moment, thinking that Allah has forgotten them, when in reality, He's finalizing their elevation. The second sign is the sudden detachment. For no apparent reason, you begin to lose interest in the things that once made you tick. You realize that certain pleasures no longer attract you. Certain people move away. Certain places become bland. You feel within you a kind of strange but sweet emptiness. This emptiness is not a lack. It is a purification. It is Allah who is preparing you to receive something deeper, something more lasting, something that others cannot even understand. The third sign is the massive return of your sincerity. When you no longer expected anything, you start praying from the heart again. You cry without understanding why. You become humble again. You rediscover your childlike heart before Allah. Your invocation becomes pure again. It is no longer for results, it is no longer for immediate favors. You come back to Him simply because He is Him. And this sincerity, this level of stripping away, is the springboard to heavenly retribution. The fourth sign is the multiplication of external blockages. You apply yourself. You do your best. You want to move forward. But everything seems to be closing in. You make the effort, but you see no fruit. You try to build, but everything collapses. Don't be discouraged. It's not because you're far from blessing. It's because you are too close to the real door, which Allah Himself will open. And He does not want you to go astray in the gates of men. The fifth sign is the peace that surprises you in pain. You are tired, but you no longer complain. You are hurt, but you do not seek revenge. You do not understand, but you are at peace. This peace is not natural. It is a gift from Allah. It is the light of patience that begins to illuminate your heart. And when this light appears, it is because the decree is very close. An inexplicable peace always precedes a spectacular rise. The sixth sign is a return of repeated divine reminders. You open a book, you hear a verse, you listen to a speech, and everything speaks to you directly, as if Allah were responding to you through each message, as if everything was written for you. These are not coincidences. It is divine care. Allah feeds your soul, strengthens your spirit, and prepares you for what He will offer you. And finally, the seventh sign, perhaps the most powerful. This is the moment when you feel that you have nothing left except Allah. But that is enough for you. It is at this precise moment that He pours out what the angels call Ajr al-Muthafin, the abundant reward reserved for those who stood firm when all seemed lost. So now, take a good look at your life. Do you see these signs? Do you feel them within yourself? If so, don't worry. Don't rush. Be prepared. For when Allah multiplies, He does not do it halfway. He gives you back with grandeur, with beauty, with honor. And most importantly, He puts you back in front of the very people who thought you were finished. But this raises another essential question. Why does Allah choose some people for this spectacular elevation and not others? What makes the difference between the chosen one and the mere believer? Prepare yourself. What you're about to discover in the next part could transform the way you see yourself and your connection to the Most High. There is a strange, confusing, and often misunderstood moment on the soul's journey. This moment when everything seems to have stopped. You pray, you invoke, you hope, and yet nothing moves, neither inside nor outside. Even your emotions seem extinguished. You feel as if suspended in a space between two worlds, no longer quite in the pain of yesterday, but not yet in the light of tomorrow. It's a kind of emptiness, but it's not a void that kills. It's a sacred void. Many think this is abandonment, that Allah has withdrawn, closed His doors, turned His gaze away, but this is not true. This silence, this sudden slowing down, this lack of a visible response, is actually the subtle trace of divine wisdom in action. It is not a punishment, it is a transition. When Allah is about to entrust you with something precious, He first removes you from the turmoil. He empties your heart, not to leave it empty, but so that it is not full of what would block His light from entering it. He tears you away from certain relationships. He closes certain paths. He puts an end to routines, to projects, to illusions. He removes external supports so that you understand that everything that comes after can have no other origin than Him. In this apparent silence, your soul readjusts. It reorients itself. And above all, it heals. Not through agitation, not through speeches, but through this stillness that we feel. This stillness is a mercy. It is like the moment of calm before the ocean unleashes its waves. It is a calm that we only understand after the fact, when we see what Allah was preparing without us realizing it. You feel that you have nothing more to say in your invocations, that even your words have fallen silent. You no longer have the strength to explain to God what you feel, because even you no longer know exactly what you feel, and yet, at that moment, you are perhaps closer to Him than ever. Because in that emptiness, your heart begins to truly listen. It no longer speaks to ask, it waits to receive. And this waiting is not in vain. Allah has always worked this way with His close servants. He made them go through what the Sufis call fana, self-effacement. Not the self-effacement of existence, but the self-effacement of dependence on anything other than him. He led them into inner deserts to reveal to them a source they did not suspect. And when this source gushes forth, it is pure, it is stable, it is immense. It is this source that becomes the basis of their elevation. But to access it, you must agree to remain in this silence for a moment. You must not panic, not question everything, not run away to distractions. You must breathe, sit down, and settle down. Say to Allah in your heart, I don't understand everything, but I trust you. And this trust, as fragile as it may seem, carries immense weight in the invisible world. For what you do not see is what the angels see. That your name is circulating in the celestial spheres. That a new decree is being validated. That an irreversible change is being written. And that this silence that you experience here below is the solemn calm of a decree being descended. Don't underestimate this moment. It's not forgetting. It's refocusing. It's not punishment. It's a metamorphosis. It's not the end. It's the prelude. And when the light comes, it will be so strong that it will illuminate the traces of your past silence. It will make everyone understand that your isolation was a call, that your emptiness was a sign, that your calm was a preparation. So don't leave this silence too soon. Don't be afraid of it. For it is there, precisely there, that the divine reward begins to be embodied in the invisible details of your life. In the next step, you will discover what happens when this light finally descends and how Allah manifests His glory in a way that even your enemies cannot ignore. After this time of silence, this moment when you thought everything had stopped, the light begins to break through the darkness. It is not a simple flash, nor a sudden noise. It is a gentle but powerful manifestation, an elevation invisible to the eyes of the world, but evident to those who know how to see with their hearts. Allah chooses this precise moment to reveal His glory, and not only to you, but before all. You will see that what you thought was lost, forgotten, or destroyed comes back to life in extraordinary ways. What was shattered becomes a testimony. What was erased reappears in a more beautiful, stronger, and more radiant form. The double reward in question is not simply a material or visible compensation. It is a profound transformation that affects every aspect of your life. Your heart, your mind, your relationships, your impact on the community. Everything becomes a reflection of the greatness of Allah within you. This glory is not arrogant. It does not seek to crush. It illuminates, it attracts, it soothes. Those who have underestimated or rejected you will be surprised not only by what you have become, but by the peace that emanates from you. For true greatness is not expressed by domination, but by wisdom, humility, and generosity. This is what Allah multiplies in you. Not only success, but the way in which you carry this success. You then realize that everything you went through was not in vain. Every pain, every labor, every moment of loneliness had a specific purpose. This purpose was to prepare you to receive this glory and to share it without ever losing sight of the one who gave it. You have become a mirror of His mercy and a channel of His blessing. But this manifestation before all is not just a reward, it is also a mission. Allah raises you up to be a beacon, a guide for other lost souls, a living reminder that patience, faith, and fidelity always bear extraordinary fruits. You now bear a new responsibility, that of transmitting, of illuminating, of supporting. For the light that shines within you is destined to dispel the darkness around you. And this, Allah knows, He has written it into your destiny. When the glory of Allah manifests itself in your life in this way, you feel a profound peace, a contentment that nothing can disturb. Thus, Allah's double reward is not just a gift. It is an inner transformation, a spiritual elevation, and a sacred responsibility. This path, though demanding, is the way of the chosen ones, of those whom God has chosen to carry His light and His truth.